Hello and welcome to Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez. There has been an onslaught of people who have left their jobs, changed their careers during this pandemic, and many of them are just looking for more purpose, something more meaningful or really impactful. And so we're going to talk a little bit today about an opportunity you might not be thinking about. And joining me to talk more about that is Dr. Paul Chitwood of the International Mission Board. Thanks for joining me, Paul.
You're welcome, Jacqueline. Thanks for having me on.
I'm glad to have you because I had a chance to hear you speak, and I kept thinking, gosh, this is a great opportunity for people who have been changing their jobs, looking for something new, and then even this morning I was like, well, with everyone working virtually, this could be perfect.
Well, it really could. There's lots of opportunities to, as you said, work in a meaningful assignment in life. And we talk about bringing help and hope to people all around the world at the International Mission Board, the organization that I'm with. And what could be more meaningful than that? Helping people with needs in life and bringing eternal hope to them. In fact, I think our work is the most important work in the universe. And we have opportunities for people to go and volunteer and serve on one of our teams for a short-term experience, a week, 2 weeks, somewhere overseas. We work in about 150 countries, but there's also opportunities for people to give more of their life, really to leverage their life in a career assignment or career role with the IMB, again, helping the hurting and bringing eternal hope as we share the gospel around the world.
And what you're doing is not just going from one country to the next. And you're in so many places right now. It is really amazing. But you also answer the call, like in the case, of the Ukraine. So you could even take a short-term trip to the Ukraine to help out and work.
Yeah, right now we're working all around the border countries. We had personnel who were serving in Ukraine until the war broke out. Now most of them are career missionaries who know the language and the culture and have lots of relationships with Ukrainians and with churches and seminaries and aid agencies in the country. And we are able to work alongside of them to get aid into the country. But there are more than 4.5 million refugees who've come out of Ukraine and pouring into those surrounding countries, primarily to Poland, but also Romania, Moldova, Hungary, other countries that surround the borders. And we have volunteers as well as full-time missionaries who are there helping provide shelter, food, other basic needs, medical services. And one of the biggest things that we're also doing is helping people get to places. For example, if a person comes into Poland who has a family in Germany or United States, we're helping them when they have very little resources and sometimes no knowledge of how to get to the next place, helping them get along their way towards an ultimate, whether it's temporary or more permanent destination.
Now, talk about now, obviously, doctors, serving in the Ukraine, that makes sense. Talk about some of the different industries that really work well in the mission field in general, because some of these places, you talked about going into countries that to reach unreached people. And a lot of times some of those, blocks or stumbling blocks, you know, have to do with being able to get into the country with a proper visa. And a lot of times you can take your business into another country and actually do business in those countries. Can you talk about some of the different industries that might work well?
Yes, I think you're explaining the situation well. Uh, uh, Going into Ukraine for us, that work has been easy to access because uh, the country is very open, high religious tolerance. They welcome in missionaries, they welcome in aid workers, they welcome in church planters and seminary professors. But there are other places in the world where that's not the case. And so we have to get more creative in our access to those people so we can bring help to people who have needs, but also bring the hope of the gospel of Jesus Christ to those people. And ultimately, that's our greatest concern, our greatest desire is to see that everyone has the opportunity to hear the gospel. You used a term there, the unreached peoples or unreached people groups. That's a term that we apply to those who have yet to hear the gospel. And they're unreached typically with the gospel for a reason. It's very difficult to get to them because of restrictions that countries place upon them in terms of place upon foreigners or outsiders coming in that don't issue visas very easily. Certainly, many of those countries don't issue missionary visas. And so, how do we get into those countries? That's the question you're posing. And we work very hard to ensure that we're able to have access. And the best way to get access is for people to have a career path that allows them to serve in some way that they're contributing to that country's economy. So the government would welcome them in on a visa that would be focused on a business or a career. Obviously, doctors and nurses get ready access to many, if not most, all places in the world. The school teachers can also get easy access. There's a shortage of school teachers in many places of the world. There's a shortage of business professionals in the developing nations. So someone who has business experience or business degree can use that as an opportunity to go in and set up a business or be a part of a business in a country, and then be there as a witness, be there to provide help to those who are hurting, but also share the hope of the gospel of the Lord Jesus. There's really no limit on the different career pathways that a person could use. Maybe someone in the coffee business, maybe someone in the service industry, someone who has law enforcement or military background could be welcomed into a country, be a contributor to the security of the country. We have attorneys who've served with us, engineers who serve with us, farmers, veterinarians. We have people who
I
can
would dentist, I would think even.
absolutely dentists. We have people who get easy access as farmers because in again some of the developing countries they really need help in the agricultural industry, and so if you have that kind of background or education, credentials, you can get access and go in and again help the people learn how to farm. Help the people be able to feed themselves and provide for their fellow man, but also as we're there, we're sharing the hope of the gospel with them. So really limitless opportunities to go. It's just a matter of being creative and leveraging the life that we have, leveraging the skills and the education that we have that would prepare us for an opportunity like that.
Now, one of the things I know the other thing is it's not like you go, okay, pick a country, we're going to throw you in there and see what happens. You have several trainings online, and going across the bottom, you'll see the website for the International Mission Board, which is www. Sorry, www.imb.org. I think I added an extra one. But, there's also different ways to not only if you can't go, you can also send relief. And I see you can send relief in person, or you can send relief, monetarily. There are ways to give.
That's right. Not everyone's able to travel overseas. Maybe they have health constraints and won't let them go, but they still want to be a part of helping. We've been watching for more than a month now the travesty unfolding in Ukraine, the suffering of the Ukrainian people. I've made two trips to the border nations of Ukraine, stood at those border checkpoints, and watched the bewildered, broken, and hurting people come across those borders. And most of them are women and children. The children outnumber the women, and just the trauma and the devastation, the hopelessness, the despair. We can help. We can make a difference. And that's exactly what we're doing. You don't have to go to make a difference. In fact, Southern Baptist churches and the International Mission Board works with our Southern Baptist churches Southern Baptists have given almost $6 million now to the relief efforts. And one of the unique things about our organization, the IMB and Send Relief is a part of the IMB. One of the unique things about our organization is every single penny that's given is used on the ground for the needs that are specified. So we have other ways of funding, our promotion efforts, other ways of funding uh, our employees' compensation and all of that, which allows, and those other ways are what we call the cooperative program. It's a giving initiative by our churches that support the infrastructure of our organization. And this allows a donor then to give, and every penny is used to meet the needs. So of that, nearly $6 million, all of that will be used to help hurting people who are inside and flowing out of Ukraine. And so it's a unique opportunity that other organizations that don't have the support of churches like we have cannot ensure. They don't have that luxury. We have it, which means that every penny is used the way the donor has asked for it to be used. You can go to sendrelief.org. We have lots of information about the crisis in Ukraine, but about many other crises that are unfolding around the world. Some of them that were in the news cycle some time back and have disappeared, but the crisis is ongoing. I think of Venezuela and the refugees still flowing out of Venezuela, the suffering of the Venezuelan people. We've been involved there. We've been working in Venezuela for decades. And this current crisis, the political crisis that's created such despair among the Venezuelan people, we were there day one, able to bring help. And you can actually still give to that cause as well as a long list of other causes at sendrelief.org. IMB.org is your opportunity to go. So you can go to our website. We actually have a special page that gives you constant updates on the Ukraine situation and opportunities to give through that at either website. But you can fill an application, whether it's for a short-term trip of a week or two, or again, you want to stay a few months, a couple of years, you're willing to give for your retirement years, or a break in your education as a young person, student going out, or you want to take that career path. All of those opportunities are available and listed on the website. And as you referenced a few moments ago, we try to be very strategic in where we send people and the work that we do, because there's so many needs and so many have yet to hear the good news.
Well, you know what, Dr. Chetwood? I'm not even sure we actually said it, and that is the way you fund the missionaries that go. Because some missionaries have to fund themselves, but through the IMB, you do the funding. You pay for their home and their food and their, what they need on a daily basis. So if someone wanted to pick up and go, they can literally pick up and go and not be worried about, how to live on the other side.
Well, that's exactly right, Jacqueline. Most organizations, mission sending organizations, missionary sending organizations, you raise your own money and they send you. That's the way most of them operate. The International Mission Board, the IMB, is different in the sense that through the generosity of our churches, they have provided for the funding for missionaries, and they've entrusted that funding to our organization, and we're able to fully support a missionary who goes out. Now, if you're going for a volunteer trip of a week or 10 days, 2 weeks, what have you, a lot of that funding is going to fall on you just as a part of your volunteer experience. But if you're going as a career missionary, or if you're going in what we call that midterm category, say a young person, age 18 to 30, we have a category called the Journeyman Program, where you can go and give 2 years of your life, leveraging your life, serving on one of our missionary teams, bringing help and hope around the world, and you'll be fully funded. Not only will your basic needs be met in terms of you'll have a house, you'll have a ministry budget, you'll have transportation, but you also have a salary, you have an income. And that's true of our career missionaries as well. So they don't have to raise their own support. Their support has already been raised by the organization, by the churches. And that's something that's very unique about the International Mission Board. So if you for instance, want to step away from your medical practice, or resign as a nurse or a veterinarian, and you think, well, I feel called to be a missionary. I want to go provide help and hope around the world, but how will I eat? How will I be able to do that once I've left my job or career? You don't have to worry about that because we're providing for all of your salary, all of your benefits, all of your needs are met. You may not earn the same level of salary that you would as a doctor or nurse here in the States, but that's not what this is about. And that's not what you're about. If you're going on mission uh, around the world, you're willing to make sacrifices, but you don't have to starve to death. We're going to take care of your needs. And so it's a great opportunity to serve through the IMB and to know that the needs of you and your family will be met. We have over 3,600 missionaries, and we send singles and families out. There are almost 2,900, just over 2,800 children who are living overseas with their families, fully provided for their education, their health care, all of their needs by the International Mission Board through the generosity of our churches.
Now, I'm gonna mention this, because one, I know actually about 6 people who have gone through the International Mission Board are, they're either presently serving or have already served, first of all. So I know people who have done this and love it. This was a very positive experience for them. But also, realistically, when you're talking about, when somebody who is an executive or looks at this and they're like, no, this is not for me. I'm going to tell you just the last thing I'm going to tell you, and that is right now, in the same sense of what you're doing through the International Mission Board, there is a vice president of a company that I've done many stories on. It's a cybersecurity company, but he happens to be a volunteer firefighter, you
Mm.
know, and one of the volunteer firefighters is from Ukraine. And so I'm hoping to reach out. In fact, there's a message on my phone right now from him. So when I finish here, I'm going to talk to him. But hopefully in the coming days, I'll be able to talk to him from the Ukraine. But because of the virtual, reality that we live in, this is a very possible thing. And not only is he serving, but he's working. He is going to work from the Ukraine, for,
It's
Land Info, yeah, this company, Land Infotech, and this is one of the fastest growing cybersecurity companies in the nation. So this is not unrealistic. And that is something that when were talking, that's what caught my attention because I was like, "Oh, this is definitely something that's doable, meaningful, and impactful at the same time." And what better time to do it, than now, right?
Yeah, I agree. We feel that we're involved in the most important work in the universe, and what greater thing to be involved in? And so, again, would welcome all of your viewers. Go to imb.org, check out the organization, check out opportunities to go and serve. If you want to just to give and support, you can do it at imb.org. Send relief also. It gives you the opportunity to send relief to those who are in need. Thank you for having me on today.
It was my pleasure, my pleasure, and I know people are already gonna be thinking, their mind clicking, "How can I do this? How can I do this?" So I'm excited to have you and, we'll look forward to hearing more about the things that you're doing, through the IMB. Thanks so much.